On the program, we celebrate individuals who are highly motivated and continue to achieve in their lives. And one such person is Rita Nkuhlu, who holds the top position in the leading German technology company Siemens. Here in South Africa, she's their executive director. She recently got her company involved in the promotion of science and technology in high schools, and one learner won a 1 million rands bursary to go study in Germany. And of course, Siemens will be supervising that. Rita Nkuhlu is here to tell us about her life story and her career. Rita, pleasure to have you with us here on the show.
Thank you.
And we met you at the Expo Science. It was great. It was wonderful to see so many young kids involved and excited about new technologies.
Yes.
How did you feel about the whole event? And tell me a bit more about your involvement there.
Yeah. So the Siemens involvement in there, we were approached by Eskom. In order to also support the furtherance of an interest of science and technology through bursaries. So it's good to start a project and you have something to reach towards, but at the end of the day, I think it's important that children in particular, they are rewarded for excellence. And excellence has many reward types. To me though, and to Siemens for that matter, it's about education. It's about taking that forward and building on the potential that these children have shown. And I think at the Expo, we saw that so many kids were there. I mean, the interest was just amazing. The kids came from far and wide. They really touched just about every single small dopey everywhere in South Africa. And out of that came then the culmination of the Science Expo. And we as Siemens contributed with bursaries, as well as then awarding the schools that have these excellent students, and then also awarding the teachers for the excellent students that they have groomed to the level that they're at.
Now, you work for Siemens and you've been a Siemens member through and through for quite a while now. And for as long as I can remember, Siemens has been in South Africa. So it's one of the top engineering technology firms in the world. What is the size of Siemens, by the way, before we talk about your employment with them?
Yeah. So Siemens is an engineering company. In South Africa, we focus on electrification, on automation, that being industrial automation, factory automation, and then also digitization. Now, we all have heard about Industry 4.0 and how is data used for communities, for companies, and that's something that we are really very much involved in. In fact, we're industry leaders in that space.
But in the world, there was a time, I'm sure you were in over 100 countries or something like, or I suppose wherever you go, you'll find a Siemens product. You
will probably find it in every country that you go to. We are represented currently in 130 odd countries. In Africa, we are also represented in branch offices right through SADC, also the eastern parts of Africa, as well as then West Africa, Nigeria and Ghana.
Now, your story. How do you get involved in Siemens in South Africa, even reaching the top positions within the company, at least here in the South African subsidiary?
So I do have a connection with the German company, which is Siemens,
yes,
through the fact that I was born and raised in Germany.
Okay. All
so
right.
I came to South Africa as part of the individuals who were coming back.
Yes.
In 86. And my mom basically said, look, we need to go back. We need to go back to our roots. And at the time, our roots and still are in the Transkei. So I finished my high school in Mthatha High. And once I had completed that, I thought to myself, well, what do I do now? My mom had gone back to England by then. So I joined her there and did my business administrator's degree.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I'm an African through and through.
Yeah.
The couple of years that I had spent in South Africa really convinced me that this is where I can add the most value. So I came back to South Africa. Started working in a small company which was a supplier to Siemens, and when the owner retired, actually the purchaser within the Siemens company said, hey, don't you want to join Siemens? Now, how was she attracted to me? All we did was phone regularly. I would give an update on the product, how is it coming along, are we going to meet the delivery date or not. It was about consistency, about consistently making sure that the customer, in this case it was Siemens, is kept up to date, even when there were hindrances or hiccups along the way. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I ended up in Siemens.
So you were invited. You didn't stand in a long queue like many people would and say, I want to get into that company and look for friends and connections to get in there. So it was that interaction that unlocked the door.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's oftentimes the case that in one's career, you develop a network. And within that network, there will surely always be an opportunity. Now, it's up to the individual, it was up to me to accept, being part of the company or not. For me, though, it was about being consistent and about making sure that I'm customer focused. In this case, it's Siemens. And the same thing applies today.
But you started at a relatively junior level to where you are now, right?
Yes.
And so what happened once you got inside Siemens?
Yeah. So when I got into Siemens, I was doing something very similar to what I was doing in that other smaller company. I just did product quotations and made sure that the deliveries were done. 2 years later, I then got involved in more interesting items, which were projects within Siemens, within the transportation division. And then, again, through consistent work, being really just always there and making sure that the interests of the customer, in this case it was Protocon and Transnet, was well represented. Then I got an opportunity to go to Germany and really now look at projects from a global perspective. I spent time in Brunswick, 4 years. Again, consistently making sure that I understand what the products are about, what my commercial role within that is, and again, focusing on the customer. So when that project was done, 4 years later, I returned to South Africa.
Now, yours is a very interesting story because it will assist us in, let's didn't call it career guidance on one hand, but on the other hand, how as an individual you can manage your own career so you can grow within one company. I mean, you mentioned consistency. So you've been consistent in one company. It's a global company, and its roots are in Germany. At a personal level, what did you learn? I mean, out of the whole journey, the whole experience of what happened. You were born in Germany, raised in the Transkei or matriculated there, go back to the UK, do what you did, join Siemens, and still continue to grow in your life. What are the key things that you think have worked for you?
I can only repeat it. Consistency.
Yeah.
So it is important to set a target and a goal, but then to work towards it incrementally. So when I joined Siemens, it was never my ambition to become an executive director. It is as I saw the pathway that was in front of me that I realized that, hey, look, here is a good career path I can follow. It fitted, it certainly suited me, so I decided that that's exactly what I'm going to do. And the way I was going to do that was to prove that I can work consistently and work excellently at that.
And the question is based on the fact that especially women, young women, but women generally face glass ceiling, and the question is, how do you break through that? I mean, here's the context again. This is a global German company, you are South African, and everybody brings whatever they bring to the party, right? That how do you break through in such environments?
I guess it would be having a coach, having a mentor. In my case, I also had a mentor who guided me. So she's a lady. She guided me in the sense of dealing with company politics, because being excellently and being consistently excellent does not always equate to upward mobility. What it does equate to is here's an individual who has, who brings that to the party. However, what is that person's potential? So in my case, I guess my potential was seen by my mentor, and she advised me along the way how to deal with HR topics, how to deal with dealing with other divisions within the company, and then more importantly, how to really shine, how to prepare for meetings, how to make sure that, in my case, being a commercial, that the numbers are represented accurately, but also in a manner that is easily digestible for management.
Now, let's take advantage of your presence here. You are one of the big shots at Siemens, so give free mentorship coaching here on the program, right? If somebody says, I'm a woman, I'm a young person, I've been in the company for several years and I feel like I'm not making any headway, there's no progress here. What should I do? Should I leave the company, find a new job, or should I stay and grow? How do you create a path for yourself in that context?
I'm a mentor to many colleagues within the company also, because they have observed me also. So I would say that, first of all, as an individual, you need to take stock. Understand where you are at. Are you in the right career path? Oftentimes, after 3 years or 5 years of working within an organization, it's very easy to tell, am I a square peg in a round hole, or am I, in fact, on the right career path? So take stock of where you're at and be very honest with yourself. It's important to not lie to yourself in this regard, and I cannot stress that enough, because pursuing a career path that is not a match to yourself results in dissatisfaction with the job, not having that work-life balance. In other words, walking into the company every morning saying, I'm now ready to do what I needed to do. So take stock and then understand what your real career path is. And then have a mentor. Have a mentor who can guide you, particularly an individual who's already a bit more senior in the organization. And there are many, in many organizations, there are individuals who are willing and in fact hungry to pass on that knowledge. And I think from a corporate perspective, it's incumbent upon us, and I applaud your show for that, it's incumbent upon us that we do give that kind of advice. Because you can break an individual very, very quickly. If they go on the wrong path, they haven't taken stock for themselves.
Well, Rita, thank you very much for sharing your time with us, because, if you can break through the ceiling, so can many other young people.
Absolutely.
And all they need is the mentoring that you're talking about, and also observing how those who've done it before broke through. We appreciate, and of course, you will help South Africa grow through your own efforts. We appreciate that.
I'm very open to be contacted for mentorships also.
That's Rita Nkuhlu, who is Executive Director at Siemens here in South Africa. That's a German engineering company with a footprint in more than 130 countries. So you don't just get to the top easily like that. Consistency and focus is the message we got from Rita.